That's right. Tonight or in a few moments, we're going to be watching brownie or cooking brownies while watching The Postman. We decided an apocalyptic movie was definitely in order. So this is going to be a little bit of a transition for people as they begin to learn how to do these things. And as people begin to self isolate, we hope that we can learn how to communicate through things like this podcast or things like shows on or even video games. You know, the world does not end just because we go inside. Interacting with people doesn't end just because we go inside. Yeah, alpha nerds, we have it. We have the perfect situation because for us, this is like a blissful world. I mean, you think about it for just a second. What do nerds want? We want to stay inside, no sports, social interaction forbidden. You know, we could basically sit at our keyboards and play Star Wars all day, and nobody's going to judge us for it. So enjoy this moment. This is the world you're made for. This is the world we're made for. Alpha nerds, the ones who don't particularly enjoy those crowded places, those places that become hierarchical or bullies or even just social snobberies. This is a new world for you and I. Now, questions abound. Many of them are about what are the chances that I am going to get the coronavirus. I've looked at a lot of things, and really that depends on how seriously we take it. Looking at it as the world we are looking at right now, I would say before the end of this year, I'd say it's a likelihood that about 60% of us will probably get the coronavirus unless we do something to shorten that curve. We have to find a way to have less people infected all at once by beginning to self-isolate. Most people thought I was completely insane a week and a half ago when I began to self-isolate. I was like, this is the world I'm made for. This is it. Now that it's time for people to wake up and realize that they might have already missed that opportunity, this is a very difficult thing for many of you to go through. You're not used to not having the modern luxuries and conveniences and routines of your daily day, which meant maybe going to the store to figure out what you were going to have for dinner. And for some of you who live alone or don't have a lot of people over 60 in your life, you might just go that route. But the reality is Annie and I and our kids, we decided to self-isolate not because of what was going to happen to us, but to do our part. To do our part in being a piece of the corrective action and to lead the way in this corrective action before being asked to or being forced to. Like the man in Kentucky, he's pushing all the limits. If he just had the mentality that we are all in this together, he wouldn't be a blue falcon. A blue falcon, I know that's a term. I'll let you all figure it out. It's a military term for buddy effer. Okay, it's our code for that, and that is what we're living through right now. Is people with malice of their own freedoms bleeding in to something that should not be permitted. Their freedom should not mean my health. Unless you think otherwise. I encourage you to call. Again, 405-534-4747. Okay, so what's happening so far? The global markets. We'll talk about the global markets for just a second. Right now, the market is 2,000 points down for the day. Now, that's the third time it's hit a circuit breaker in the last week, okay? These are little timeouts in trading. So we don't have everybody just dumping all of their money out of the stock market all at once. These little dips are major reminders that we are tied to our economy. If our economy goes, so does natural civilization and order as we know it. And this is becoming a concern because we have lost probably 20 to 22% of our stock markets, our Dow's value since this whole thing has begun. I have a text here said that the person in Kentucky, the man should be arrested and put in isolation. Yes, he should. And unfortunately, he hasn't been. And it's those moments that are going to create a precedent which is going to eventually cause those people to not be put into isolation. Because if you have too many of those people, where do you put them? In a group, because you cannot do anything else. You don't have enough rooms to provide for that kind of freedom. You don't have the ability to have this kind of attitude. You're going to be put into essentially something that's going to resemble a camp. And that's not a good thing, because that is going to spread the virus to your vulnerability more and more. The best thing you can do is to go along with this pandemic and to do what is being asked of you. Oh, people. Individualism is a wonderful thing, and people can respect an individual mind all they want. But there is a time where you have to put aside your desires for a greater good. And if you do not understand it, I don't even know what to say. God bless your heart, because you are part of our societal problem. Your conservatisms, your drastic radicalisms is a public health crisis that needs to be fixed. I'm hoping we get some callers, because if not, in a few minutes I will be shutting down. Just to let you know, Virgin Atlantic is also going to be grounding 85% of their flights. It looks like flight travel is just going to be something that's a lost endeavor for a little while. Stacey Alma of Oklahoma City, she says about the Kentucky man with the coronavirus refusing to be self-quarantined. He needs to be taken to medical custody. This is for the safety of others. At this point, he shouldn't get a choice. What an uneducated idiot. He doesn't care about his community at all. I'd release his name and the town can isolate from him. He can decide self-isolating, mandatory isolation, or the state has the right to release his name so others can protect themselves. I don't know what else to do. And yes, I know it violates HIPAA laws. Do you let one asshole infect others? This does bring a good point. How much should HIPAA be permitted? If people are going to be willing to willingly can spread this disease to vulnerable people, how much should privacy of their health be permitted? This is a quandary. This is something to consider. If you have an answer for that, I'd like to hear it. I'm inviting you to give us a call. Again, the number is 405-534-4747. Again, 405-534-4747. So the conservatives are cheering the end of the Federal Reserve, or what they believe is the end to the Federal Reserve by the fact that they have cut interest rates to 0%. And I know that sounds a little weird. Why would conservatives be doing this? Well, they feel that the Federal Reserve has always been some sort of big banking scheme which has caused for a level of repression. My friend has contacted me from the North. He says that he is actually excited for this because he believes that in 5 years this will mean more freedom than ever before. Freedom from the big banking structures of the Federal Reserve. And I say, how foolish. That Federal Reserve, that economy system is tied to everything that we have. And if without that system moving and going, why not switch to socialism entirely? Because in this case, it would serve us better. So if you're cheering for the end of the Federal Reserve, the only thing you are cheering is for a replacement system that you feel is going to benefit us. And that will not be the free market, as you have seen it failing us currently. So conservatives, cheer about that Federal Reserve failure and realize at the end of that rope is just an empty fall to nothingness. Well, it doesn't seem like we got a call. I am going to go ahead and say thank you very much for listening. Tomorrow at noon, we will try this one more time. But for now, thank you again for listening to Alpha Nerds and Inherent Deal.